folks, in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to do basic maintenance on an HO scale locomotive. Doing maintenance on your locomotives will have many positive effects, one of the best being it will improve their lifespans. Now I have locomotives from the early 40s and 50s and they're still in excellent condition, all because they were maintained well by lubricating and cleaning them properly. So in today's video I'm going to show you guys basically how to do that. Here's our locomotive. It happens to be an Athearn. Most locomotives, although they may look different on the outside, generally have the same thing, which is a motor, gearbox, and driving wheels. So provided you keep all these things in check, it should last quite a long time. To do the maintenance, we're going to be using Labella grease, Woodland Scenics oil. For tools, we've got a flathead screwdriver. It doesn't have to be anything special. It's mainly just for helping to pry up certain parts. We've got some rubbing alcohol. This is alcohol compound. Most rubbing alcohols are generally the same and will do this job quite well. And then just for cleaning, we've got some cotton swabs or Q-tips. So to begin taking this apart, you first want to find the tabs. Now almost all locomotives have tabs that you can lift to access the inside. In this case, there's one here and here. So one at a time, we're just going to gently lift up those tabs. And you do this on both sides. And just like so, the whole shell will lift off. We are now on the inside. This right here is the motor. This is the flywheel. These basically take some of the energy out of the motor while it's spinning, and it just allows the locomotive to run a little bit smoother. Basically, if it loses power, the flywheels will have enough energy to keep it moving. Right here are the gearboxes, and obviously down here are the wheels. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to work a little bit with the motor. So we're going to take one of our cotton swabs and we'll take some alcohol. And what we're going to do is we're going to clean the commutator. The commutator is what gets power from the wheels of the locomotive and gets them directly to the armature, which is the piece that spins inside the motor. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our alcohol-soaked cotton swab, and we're just going to gently clean this piece. And this will just take small bits of dirt that are preventing better electrical connectivity from getting to the motor, and it will pull them off and make the motor run a whole lot better. The second thing you want to do is take your flatheads and the little spaces on each plate of the commutator. You just want to clean those out because small bits of metal can cause electrical shorts. So by doing this, you reduce the risk of causing a short, which can do serious damage to the locomotive's commutator. We're now going to get around to taking care of the gearboxes. To take the gearboxes themselves apart, you first have to basically get your flatheads directly under this first tab here. And you just want to gently pry up, and it should just pop off like that. And just like that, we are inside the gearbox. We're going to take out this piece. This is called the gear worm. It turns the driving gear, which turns each wheel. So we're just going to take that out for the purpose of removing the truck. We'll remove this tab right here. And just like that, we are in the gearbox. Now the things we're going to be looking out for are bits of dust and hair and old lubricant. These are the things that can put lots of extra strain on the motor and even risk burning it out. So we'll remove this upper tab. Some locomotives contain this upper tab, however not all of them do. If it doesn't, you don't have to worry about it. We're next going to take off the bottom tabs, at least in the case of Athearn and many other manufacturers such as Proto, even Rapido I believe. They've got these bottom tabs. Now these need to be removed to access the gearbox. And to do so, you just want to pry up with a screwdriver under each gripping section, and it will come out like so. We're now inside. We can begin removing the wheels, and they just pop out like so. And then once you've got the wheels removed, you should be able to take it apart. And we are now completely in the gearbox. And you can see these are all the gears. There's the driving gear, and then these are all the gears that just transfer it down to the wheels. So we're going to remove all of those. And you just want to take basically just have a look around each of these pivots and make sure there's no dust and hair, because that will add resistance to the gears and will inevitably put more strain on the motor. In this case, this gearbox actually appears to be in very good condition, likely once again due to good maintenance, but we're still going to improve it by lubricating and cleaning it. So we're going to take our oil. You want to use oil on this thing because the gears in this section are very low resistance. Really the only application you need grease for is for this piece, the worm gear. Only high resistance applications. So we're going to put a little bit, less than a drop. You basically just want like a slick of oil over each of the pivots just to help reduce resistance on each of the gears. And you can put each of them on and just turn them in place to make sure they're all turning nice and smooth. Put this main one in and this small one, and just like that we've got our gears completely lubricated, and that's really all you need to do for that part. As for the wheels, you want to check to make sure each of the bearings are lubricated. These square things right here, those are the bearings, and you just want to put just a little drop on each bearing, and it will reduce resistance on each of the wheels. So we've got those lubricated, and usually while I have this apart, this is where I like to do a little bit of cleaning on the wheels, because the wheels are how the electricity comes in. And you just take a cotton swab with some alcohol and you just wipe up the wheels, and you can see in this case a lot of grease is actually coming off of the wheels, and doing this will just improve the electrical connectivity. And once you have your wheels all clean, you can begin reassembly of the truck. To do so, we are going to take the two halves and simply put them together. To make reassembly a little easier, you can add these tabs, which we removed on the top, and just put them back. In this case, I didn't realize this, but there was actually two tabs. Usually there's just one back here, but if you stumble across two, obviously just repeat the process. But you can't put on the bottom one until you put the wheels in. And to do so, you basically want to get each of these square bearings lined up so they're both level. And then you just line them up and just want to assist them a little until they sink in. We've now got the wheels all in, so what we'll do is we'll put this bottom tab back on, and to do so you just click it in and it should snap into place. And one thing I always do to make sure everything is working properly is just gently push it along an even surface, not applying any weight to the top, and just see if that top gear turns. If it does turn with only the weight of the truck itself, you've done a good job. It's very low resistance. In this case, electrical connectivity does come in through this tab right here, so we're going to take a little bit of alcohol and just polish it up a bit. And then we're going to take our locomotive itself, and you can add this electrical tab once you finish this next process, which is going to be putting the worm gear back inside. To do this bit, it's pretty simple. You basically got one straight piece that prevents it from slipping. You just twist it until it goes into the sleeve of the motor, and you just pop it into place. And you can just put a little bit of oil on each of the outer bearings just to reduce resistance a bit. The second thing you want to do is take a bit of your grease, and you just want to put a small dollop on the worm gear. And for some newer locomotives you do not have to do this, but for older locomotives I suggest adding a little bit of oil to the grease, and it will just thin out the grease a little bit so that it's just a little smoother. And then you just mix it with your flatheads, spread it over the entire worm gear. You can even turn it a few times with your hands just to make sure it is getting to the places it needs to be. And that should do it. Now we'll put this piece back on, put this tab back on, and just like that, you've finished one of the trucks. Now the other truck is practically identical, except you've got this light fixture. So we'll remove that by simply prying up. And just like so, you've got your light fixture removed. Now I would show you how to disassemble this truck, but this truck is actually practically identical to the other truck. So you just need to repeat the process that I showed you with this truck on this truck, and you'll have a clean truck. So I'm going to clean this one up off camera, and then I'll show you how to put the locomotive all back together once you've got both trucks cleaned. Alright, so I've now disassembled, cleaned, and re-lubricated this truck, so it's now ready for reassembly. Obviously, it is a little bit different reassembling the locomotive from this side, because you have to put the light fixture back in. You just want to get this tab back into the metal sleeve you pulled it out from, and to do so you just apply a bit of pressure, and it should be alright. Just like that, we've got it back together. We can now put the shell of the locomotive back on. This does matter directionally, because some locomotives have tabs that are at different levels, so you cannot put this on backwards. To tell the direction, basically, the light is in the cabin, and that's basically the same on almost all locomotives. So just make sure the light's where the head of the locomotive is, and that's how you determine what direction it's supposed to go in. So we're going to just drop it over, and we'll just lift up the tabs and gently push down. And we do that on both sides. And just like so, we have the locomotive back together. So now that we've got our locomotive all back together, there's only one thing left to do, which is to go test it. So we've got her all set up on the track. We're now going to apply some power. And as you can see, it's running quite smoothly. Let's bring her back our direction. One of the ways to test how good a locomotive runs is to test its low speed, and as you can see, this thing can do a pretty decent low speed. There we go. Well folks, that's how to do basic maintenance on an HO scale locomotive. I hope you guys enjoyed, and with that I will call the video a wrap. Thank you guys for watching.